when your head experiencing dream state and your heart experiencing deep sleep, you can perceive this experience when you dream and just fall asleep without even waking up. You will dream something and you will fall asleep without waking up. Again you will dream something, you will fall asleep. Maybe third time or fourth time when you dream only you will wake up. How many of you have experienced this? When you wake up you will remember all the 3-4 dreams. That is what this state, that Sushupti and Swapna. Then Sushupti and Jakrat. Sushupti and Turiya. Sushupti and Turiyatita. Understand that horizontal line is line of logic, mind. What is your strategy? See, one part of you constantly strategizes about your future, your life, logically goes on analyzing right, wrong, how to get the maximum out of everything. That line of head, logic line. And the other part, heart, emotion. Even the word heart may not be right word, because somehow unfortunately you have that very good idea about heart. I will develop some other word. The crying child, the immature child inside you, which goes on throwing tantrum. Whatever your father says is wrong. Once you decide, just goes on saying no, 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 mantra. The no becomes mantra for one part of you. A complete frustration about everything. Anything which can be seen and which can't be seen. People get frustrated because they can't see Sadashiva. It is good, sometimes you are not able to see. No, we get frustrated even with things which we have never seen, we never experienced, we never perceived. The tantrum throwing child. So better I will use the word TC, tantrum child. The tantrum child is the vertical line. The tantrum child in you is the vertical line, and logical, strategizing mind, that is the horizontal line. Both of you go through, please understand, some of you are small family inside, some of you are joint families inside, some of you are apartment complex inside. Please understand, do not believe you are one person. If you think you are one person, even you will not be able to answer many of your questions about your own self. How many of you feel there are many things which you are not able to answer about you? Then how will anybody else find the answer? That is why if somebody questions you too much, you get angry about them. Even I don't know, how can I explain to you? How many of you feel many times even you are not able to handle yourself? Raise your hand. That is what I mean, exactly the tantrum throwing child. Just saying no, no. I will face whatever it may be. Whatever comes, I'll face. But when it actually comes, you will not be able to face that. Now, how many of you do? Listen carefully. Clearly, you take a very stupid decision with the thought current. When it comes, I will face. Whatever, come what may. And when it comes, you will collapse, you will not face. How many of you? That is what I am calling tantrum throwing child. Just saying no. Does not bother even about you getting lost something. You just want to collapse, destroy everything. Even if I die, that is okay. Let me destroy the world and die. Let me pull the whole thing down and die. The tantrum throwing child experiences different state, and the logic, strategizing logic, which constantly plans for your life, that personality experiences different state of consciousness. That is why you go through $25 various states of consciousness. Listen. The TC, tantrum throwing child, goes through the deep sleep, and logic goes through the deep sleep, both experiencing deep sleep. That's what I said. Maximum you may experience 20 to 30 minutes, even if you lie down 8 hours in your bed. Then tantrum throwing child going through the dream, and the logic going through deep sleep. Earlier I explained that side, now I am explaining this side. Listen carefully. Earlier I gave an example. You going to dream, falling asleep without waking up. That is what is the example I gave for your logic experiencing dream, tantrum throwing child experiencing. Then tantrum throwing child going through the dream, and the logic going through deep sleep. Earlier I explained that side, now I am explaining this side. Listen carefully. Earlier I gave an example. You going to dream, falling asleep without waking up. That is what is the example I gave for your logic experiencing dream, tantrum throwing child experiencing deep sleep. Now I am showing you this side. The tantrum throwing child experiencing dream, but the logic experiencing deep sleep. Listen carefully. That is what I call, if I have to find an English equivalent word, frustration. In Sanskrit we call it virakti. Vrakta means the tantrum throwing part of you is active, but the logic is completely absent. Listen carefully. In Sanskrit it's called vrakti. In English I am trying to translate with the word frustration. I'll give you the context where the tantrum throwing you is so alive, wildly active and dreaming. But the logic with which you need to control you, that reins are not in your hand. It's like you are sitting on a wild horse and the horse is running on a hill. It may even jump into cliff now. I'm talking about this part where, see, this is TC, means TC, tantrum throwing child, this whole line. This whole line is logic, your mind. I'm talking about this state. The tantrum throwing child experiencing swapna, dream, wild, going literally wild. And your logic, which is supposed to control, put a rein, is sleeping. It's like you are sitting on a wild horse and you are not able to control the wild horse. It is running. It may jump anytime off the cliff. All the decisions you take in frustration, please understand, all decisions you take in frustration will destroy you. Even if you think it is good decision, I tell you, do not do permanent damage to you because of your temporary sadness. Just don't take decisions when you know you are frustrated. Whenever you know you are tantrum to child is wildly active and your logic with which you need to control your perception is absent, don't decide. You will be overloaded with frustration. Don't decide. How many of you understand you went through this in your life? How many of you are able to catch what I am describing? Please raise your hand. Next. The tantrum throwing child is in waking state, but your logic is in deep sleep. It means you are not frustrated, you are very destructive. Understand? Very consciously you agree for destruction. You agree for the kind of a tantrum throwing lifestyle. You agree to be in denial. What can I do? That's all. Very consciously you wind up. You withdraw. I may use the word denial for this state. The state now cling. The state now I have circled. I'll call that as self-denial, where the tantrum throwing child is awake. I should use the word wake up. It's in a waking state. But your logic, the strategizing mind, the strategizing component of you is completely asleep. The next, the tantrum throwing child entering into Turiya, tantrum throwing child entering into Turiya and the logic in deep sleep. One good thing is, the moment tantrum throwing child enters into Turiya, he gets healed. He gets healed. Listen, very important thing. If a tantrum throwing child in you catches the glimpse of thoughtlessness, Turiya, even once, the whole thing becomes seeking. That is why the hippies become seekers even if they get one glimpse. The tantrum throwing child becomes a powerful seeker even if you catch one glimpse of Turiya. So I'll call this state as Turiya plus Sushupti, which I marked, seeking awakened but don't know what to do. Your logic does not know what to do, how to proceed, but you know something you need to discover. I'll call that as a seeking but not active. Means you don't plan about how to go about it. Your logic has not found any method. It has not discovered any way to seek. But the tantrum throwing child is now throwing tantrum about everything which is seen or felt, which is not matching with the reality of the Turiya. See, now the Turiya becomes the benchmark. The awakened state becomes the benchmark. Anything which is not matching up to that mark, you throw tantrum about it, but you don't know how to make everything match up to the standard. Understand? At this state, you will say a big capital letter no to everything external, but you don't know to whom you should say yes. You only know to say no to everything, but you don't know to whom you should say yes. How many of you think You got this. But you don't know to whom you should say yes. How many of you think you got this? Next, Turyatita and Sushupti. When you enter Turyatita, when the tantrum throwing child enters into Turyatita and the logic is in Sushupti, I call this accidental enlightenment. No, there are few people who got this. They got it accidentally by Guru's grace or by the high energy experience without their logic planning for it. This J. Krishnamurti. J. Krishnamurti actually had a glimpse, but accidentally. The next, your tantrum throwing child experiencing deep sleep and your logic experiencing dream state. Understand? This is very interesting. Just now I explained. Where you dream, but go back to the deep sleep, again dream, and go back to deep sleep. You need to know maximum only 30% of you is your logic part. 70% of you is the tantrum throwing child inside you. That is ever you strategize, always that tantrum throwing child wins in your life. How many of you agree with that statement? How much ever you plan, finally this tantrum throwing fellow wins the game. Even if your logic, for example, tomorrow you have to give a presentation. Your logic is planning for your presentation even in your dream. But the tantrum throwing child pulls you back from the dream to deep sleep state. That is what I will call this Sushupti Swapna, what I marked. Next, the tantrum throwing child experiencing deep sleep, but the logic experiencing waking state. I'll say in this state, your logic thoroughly plans for your future. You will sit and think, nicely plan. But within next 24 hours, you will forget the whole thing and you will start thinking again the same thing and do the same plan. As if the whole thing got control deleted. How many of you experience this? Your logic's plan, but your tantrum throwing child is not even interested in looking at it. That is what this state, where 70% of you are sleeping and 30% of you is strategizing. It's like 70% of you boycott that meeting. How can any corporate meeting be successful if 70% is boycotting? See, I'll put it in a very simple way. What you desire is your logic. What you believe is your tantrum throwing child. You will never get what you desire. Please understand, you will get only what you believe. You desire always to have wealth, but you believe you will never going to get it. You are never going to get it. You desire to have health, but you strongly believe that is not part of your life. So you will not manifest what you desire, you will only manifest what you believe. People always confuse between desire and belief. Your desire is your logic, your strategy, your future plan. Your tantrum throwing child is what you believe as you. I think now it's too clear. How many of you are catching what I am saying, this statement? Understand, next, your tantrum throwing child is in deep sleep, but your logic is in Turiya. During these moments only you get the darshan, vision of gods, goddesses, guru. It goes away. It doesn't stay permanently, because anything only if your tantrum throwing child also cooperates only stays with you. For example, if your tantrum throwing child, the TC, if he enters into Turiya, and your logic is in Sushupti, which I circled now, at that state, if you get any experience of God, Guru, Darshan, it stays with you permanently, because 70% receives it. But this state, anything you get will not be permanent. It will not stay with you. It doesn't stay with you. In both states you get, but this, only if your tantrum throwing child enters into Turiya and you experience something, it becomes permanent. Means your belief enters into that state, not your desire. When your desire enters, your belief will pull it back. Ramakrishna gives a very beautiful example. All his examples are completely from Bengali villages, because he lived his whole life in Dakshineswar, which was a village in those days, and he was born in Kamarpukur, which is a remote village. He gives a very beautiful example. These boys will catch the mungus. Am I right? The pronunciation? Mangus or mungus? How you pronounce? Whatever. The boys, when they play in the paddy fields, they catch the mungus. If they catch more than 5, 6, they can't keep them under control. So they will tie a rope in their tail and put a brick in the other end and leave them to go for further hunting. These fellows, they will enter into their home, which is like a dug below the ground. Even if they enter and hide in their nets, in their holes, the boys will come and just pick up the brick and pull the rope. They will come out, they will carry them. Just like the mongoose, in whose tail the rope is tied with a brick in his hole, if your belief is holding you back, just your desire cannot take you anywhere. Because the belief is a rope and brick. It will just pull you out. Listen, here you are in deep sleep, only your desire experiences higher awareness. Then it doesn't stay permanently. If your desire, even if your desire is in deep sleep, if your belief enters into the higher consciousness, you don't lose it. Next, the tantrum throwing child in Sushupti, and you enter into Turiya. The logic enters into Turiya. Again, this state also will not be permanent. It will not be permanent because the tantrum throwing child is 70% of you. That's more powerful. It will pull you out. But very good introduction, because deep seeking. Sometimes you catch the glimpse. You caught the glimpse of unclutching, but you lost it. How many of you have that experience? This is the state you experienced. The state I have circled now, that's the state you experienced. If you got, unclutching comes by your desire, not by belief. Bhava, your belief, not by desire. Understand? Unclutching comes by your desire, logical seeking. Bhava Samadhi comes by your belief, a deep feeling connection. The tantrum throwing child, when he feels connected, you experience Bhava Samadhi. Unclutching comes by your desire, not by belief. Bhava Samadhi comes by your belief, not by desire. Understand? Unclutching comes by your desire, logical seeking. Bhava Samadhi comes by your belief, a deep feeling connection. The tantrum throwing child, when he feels connected, you experience Bhava Samadhi. I think now many are experiencing Bhava Samadhi. I am seeing many faces. Already experienced. I think I am experientially putting you in Sushupti. I am experientially showing you Sushupti. If your belief is in deep sleep and desire is in Turyatita, that's the state I have circled. You do catch Satori, but which does not stay back. It doesn't stay back. It goes away. But if your belief catches Turyatita, desire is not cooperating. That is, I can say, this state. Your belief means tantrum throwing child is catching Turyatita, but your desire, logic, is in deep sleep, Sushupti. It's not cooperating. This will become permanent, but this will not be permanent. If you achieve this, you will always lose. Achieving this is very easy, but you will lose it. Achieving this needs little practice, but you will not lose it. This comes by Bhava Samadhi, feeling connection. This comes by unclutching, your own effort. If both happens, that is what is called Turyatita, which becomes permanent. I'll just make few statements, few basic truths. 25 states of consciousness is multi-dimensions of you. Listen. All the 25 states are part of you. Nothing is good, nothing is bad. Deep sleep is as much you need. Please listen. Deep sleep is as much needed to you as you need Turyatita. The whole 25 states is your 25 dimension. Only thing, you becoming powerless during the deep sleep or the dream state is the problem. But if you decide to become powerless, you can be powerless anywhere. If you decide to become powerful, you can be powerful anywhere. Fundamentally, this whole 25 state is 25 phases of you, 25 dimensions of you. Nothing is bad, nothing is good. Because many times you become powerless in dream state, it looks like a bad. Not the state is bad, but your habit and pattern of becoming powerless there is. I'll just make few statements. Few basic truths. 25 states of consciousness is multi-dimensions of you. Listen. All the 25 states are part of you. Nothing is good, nothing is bad. Deep sleep is as much you need. Please listen. Deep sleep is as much needed to you as you need Turyatita. The whole 25 states is your 25 dimension. Only thing, you becoming powerless during the deep sleep or the dream state is the problem.
Om Ashato Ma.
Nithyananda, please get back to the space of listening. Let's all settle down. Our beloved Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, about the 25 states of consciousness and how we can evolve our consciousness to continuously jump through the various states of consciousness to the higher states of consciousness. As Swamiji beautifully told, that many times we are not even coming to the space of Jagrat, which is the waking state, as we are mostly in the states of Swapna, which is the dream state, and the Shushupti, which is the deep sleep state. The more and more that we raise our states of consciousness, the more and more we go towards the Turyatita, which is the space of Bhagavan Paramashiva himself. So, a few moments to write down our understandings, the powerful cognitions which you received from this session. It can even be that you thought that you should no more be in a sleepy state throughout the day, and you should do things which keep you active, which keep you energized, and make sure that you are alive throughout the day. Or it can even be the revelation that you feel that whenever you are in the lower states of consciousness, you feel the laziness, boredom, and which is not really helping your inner space to grow or for you to have a breakthrough in any aspect of your life. So whatever cognitions you have, please put them in the powerful cognitions. You can put it in the chat, and we'll be happy to read out and help you to internalize more of your understandings. So let's begin. Any cognition that you feel that you thought about, you can put it in the chat. It can be a small or a big revelation, a click that you got about the way that you need to continue about your day. So any cognition that you received, please put it in the chat. Let's begin the internalization exercise. Nithyanand, intensely write down every single cognition that you had about the 25 states, whether it is the various experiences that you had in each of the state. For example, in the state of Sushupti or in the state of Swapna, you can write down all the incompletions that you had towards the dreams that you have, whether it is the dreams that you're not able to fulfill, the things that you're not able to fulfill in the waking state, which comes in your dream, or it might even be the nightmares which constantly haunt you in your life, or in the present waking state. How constantly, as Swamiji said, the mix matching of all the overlapping of all of these 25 states, whether it is the Jagrat with all the other four states or the Turiya. Of course, the Turiya and Turiyatita states happen only with the initiation of the avatar. So during the Jagrat state, you can write down throughout the day which which time of the day you are in the most optimum Jagrat state, or when you start slowly slacking and going towards the Jagrat Swapna, or the states where you are not completely awake and aware. As Swamiji explained clearly, the overlapping of each state, and it is not just one state in which we are in. It is a constant mix of the states. So let us clearly analyze our whole day and write down when throughout the day, when are the moments that you are in the Jagrat, when are the moments that you start falling into Jagrat Swapna and the lower states of consciousness. Let's continue. Nithyanandam. All the participants can also post it in the chat where the acharyas can see and guide you on YouTube, Facebook, and the various social media platforms. Let's all continue the exercise. Continue to keep writing your powerful cognitions that you have internalized from the 25 states of consciousness. So, wherever you are able to relate with the 25 states of consciousness, where you're able to categorize your day into the various states, your activities. For example, when you're doing the Pada Puja in the morning, that is the space of Turiya. At the same time, when you're either at work or you're at school, when you are not very inspired or you are very lethargic, that would be the space of the Swapna, which is mixed with Jagrat. So, like that, categorize your day into various moments where you're able to match it with the 25 states of consciousness. Not only your day, even the activities as Pada Puja, whenever we do the Pada Puja or any offering, it is automatically, it raises us to the space of Turiya. So, any activity in your lifestyle where you're able to see continuously that your experience is collaborating with the 25 states of consciousness, write it down. So you can make a column with all the five states of consciousness, and you can segregate all of these actions that you do, all the various actions, to the states of consciousness. So let's continue the exercise. Nithyanandam. So with that, we come to the end of the internalization session, and we'll be moving on to get ready to receive the Bhava Samadhi Darshan of our beloved Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So we'll now be moving on to the next session of today's Bhava Samadhi Darshan program. Thank you, Nithyanandam.
नित्यानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्याधिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। Nithyanandam, I welcome all the viewers and participants joining with us in more than 175 countries for this segment and the Bhava Samadhi Darshan of Mahasadashiva, manifesting through the Nijavatara, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. And this segment is going to be very interesting to all of you, where we are going to learn how we are disconnected ideologically from our own roots, and how systematically we have been disconnected from our own roots, and how Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, has revived the glory of Sanatana Hindu Dharma to its origin and authenticity. Informative and educational segment. I would like to request all the participants and viewers to be as interactive as possible. Wherever you feel you want to make a comment or make a suggestion, or if you have something more to add to it, please feel free to add. And joining with me today in the segment is Srinitya Amritanandaya.
Nithyananda.
Yes, great. And so today we are going to touch base on few important aspects that is holding the entire Sanatana Hindu Dharma together. What made the Sanatana Hindu Dharma exist for more than 60,000 years despite undergoing 2,000 plus years of brutal persecution? What is that skeleton system that is the secret for this great civilization? It is its cultural legitimacy, cultural components of the Sanatana Hindu Dharma, which is extremely important for its growth, for its stability, and how it is able to survive for more than 60,000 years. And today in the segment, we're going to see how this cultural roots of Sanatana Hindu Dharma is systematically separated from us by anti-Hindu elements, and how the 1008th incarnation of Paramashiva has descended for the revival of Sanatana Hindu Dharma.
Yes, it's so very important, what we are discussing today about, the cultural genocide, of Hinduism is very important because this has always, existed. Means if you see, the current situation of modern slavery in 86 countries, women face, some form of job restriction. And 95, in little over 95 countries do not guarantee, equal pay, for equal work. This modern slavery, around women and girls are at, high risk of, being pushed into modern slavery through, various, things around, rape, sexual slavery, forced prostitution, etc. And if you see, there is astounding numbers, of millions of people who are victims, of modern day, slavery. And today, one such, area that we really want to focus is the Rudrakanya Sampradaya.
Yes, and Rudrakanyas are the temple dancers who dedicated their lives to Paramashiva. They made life and art as their mission, where they can achieve the purpose of living enlightenment through arts, and they dedicated their life completely to temple and Paramashiva. But what we know of Rudrakanyas today is so much of hate speech is attributed to Rudrakanyas and Devdasi tradition, who are even now, many of the Hindus themselves believe that they are nothing but prostitutes. Now, we are going to reveal to you, all the viewers and participants today, how the Rudrakanyas, the sacred beings who dedicated their lives to Paramashiva, is now termed as prostitutes. How did this systematic persecution happen? We are going to reveal some of the very interesting facts to all of you.
Yes, Rudrakanyas, were, a backbone of Hinduism, like how Swamiji has, shared. So in the eons, in the colonial era, how several legislations, were passed, for the sexual exploitation of, women in a mass scale, through passing of a disease, act or a cantonment act, in 1864, which is only, to make more women, prostitutes, and make their exploitation, easier. And they were, grounds, for if you will, the the grounds for the integrated brothels in the army base camps, etc., to really exclusive exploitation by the army, and such barbaric through barbaric laws. And it's so if you really see any of the laws at that time, it only promoted more of trafficking and prostitution, and these Cantonment Act in 1895 around that time was severely criticized in Europe by the prostitution industry which the colonial government created.
Yes. And I'm going to share with you some of the very important strategies that the anti-Hindu elements deployed in making us all believe that Devadasis and Rudrakanyas are nothing but prostitutes. I'll tell you how. So, do you know that Manodharma Shastra empowers every single woman to inherit properties? How many of you know that? You can post it in the chat. If you ever know that Manodharma Shastra, which is actually known for discriminating women, that scripture actually has empowered the woman to inherit properties. How many of you know that? You can post that in the chat. Yes, I request all the participants to be available and participate throughout this session, because some of the ideas, generic ideas that we carry about ourselves, inner image, and our Sanatana Hindu Dharma, it is all seeded systematically by anti-Hindu elements. And today we are going to break each and every one of them. So, requesting everybody to post it in the chat. What do you feel about it? Yes. Now, the Manu Shastra, which is the constitution itself, has empowered the woman to inherit properties. So, by this very value or vow, the Devadasis and temple dancers carried a lot of wealth. They actually had a lot of wealth. And because they had a lot of wealth, the British or the invaders persecute people who are doing prostitution to earn money. You heard it right. They are temple dancers and they have dedicated their lives to Paramashiva. Just because they have money, they are actually suspected of prostitution. Now, if you're suspecting of prostitution, what is the next step? You actually condemn prostitution, right? You actually have to frame laws that should stop prostitution. But you wouldn't go and deny the community itself. You cannot persecute the community itself. Even if your basis, if your claim is about stopping prostitution in the community, then your laws should be condemning the prostitution, not the culture, right? So, but that is exactly what they did. By telling a lie again and again and again, you start believing psychologically that it may be true. So they started lying that the Devadasis tradition is all about sexual exploitation and they are working to end this sexual exploitation. They repeated this lie over and over and over again in a way that we all believe the word Devadasis is something so not for me, so foreign for me, because I don't want to associate with that. This is how every single Hindu talks today. It's because of the ideological and cultural persecution that we have gone through. In fact, Devadasis possessed all this wealth by their own virtue, by their own rights. So what the invaders did was they passed a private act condemning the entire Devadasi tradition. Devadasi tradition has got nothing to do with the prostitution. If you want to end prostitution in the community, then pass laws that would end prostitution in the community, not the tradition itself. right? So this is how they actually lied about the Devadasis in a systematic way and made us all really believe that Devadasis are nothing but sex slaves. And here, these anti-Hindu great people are here to save and protect these women, but in fact, they are the ones who are subjecting these women into defamation, and the defamation did not end with their lifetime. Till now, more than 200, more than 2 centuries, they still carry the label that they are nothing but sex workers.
Yes. So really, the colonial invaders hated the Devdasis and the Rudrakanyas who were celibate female monks, brahmacharinis who administered temples, temple rituals. They took part in arts, in various festivals. They had a always the rumors spread against Devadasis, calling them as the sex idols, sex workers, and made making several allegations and several legislations to ban the spiritual tradition. And this is how the whole Rudrakanya tradition was destroyed, claiming it as anti-woman empowerment, and literally stopped them from going to the temples, worshipping, becoming temple priests, and even administrators, and it's everything was lost from that point in time, and even now it continues, and now the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Swamiji, is really empowering the women to be leaders in the Sangha, in administrators, in different ministries, taking up different responsibilities, roles, really reviving this tradition, in a very big way, and women centered around women empowerment.
Yes, and have you ever wondered, or did you ever know that women are empowered to perform temple rituals? This is something which I came to know or even cognized it is a possibility only when I knew about Swamiji and the vision of Kailasa. In Kailasa, women are empowered to perform temple rituals. In Kailasa, women are empowered to perform arts, dance, music with privilege and pride, not with a sham that you may be called at some stage as a sex worker. And in Kailasa, there are several women empowerment schemes and programs that were conducted by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism over the years. In Kailasa, Swamiji has empowered women to several leadership positions. In Kailasa, woman is made to feel the full potential of who she can be. In a very systematic way, Swamiji has worked on this particular issue for the and there are several women, thousands of women in Kailasa who feel great about being themselves and who also feel gratitude towards Sanatana Hindu Dharma for sowing such strong seeds in Hindu feminism. And now we will go to the next aspect of cultural genocide that has been incurred to Hindus. So far, if you have any questions or any feedback, or how are you feeling about this systematic psychological way, how this hate speech was spread, how the lies were told repeatedly in a way that you start believing that it is truth. So you can post your feedback, your comments on that.
Yes, see, please post your comments to what we are sharing, because it is our ancestors, our generations who have gone through this, and at the same time it continues even now. As I said earlier, the modern slavery still continues. There are millions of people who are victims of the modern slavery. And in different countries, in war zone countries, different countries with low economic conditions. So this thing continues. What existed hundreds of years ago, it still continues. It is important for us to have a turnaround, to change this, shift this, and that's where Kailasa and Supreme Pontiff, Swamiji is really reviving the Rudrakanya tradition through and also through different women empowerment programs and many such projects and many such activities through rural and indigenous women through free medical camps and many women empowerment centers around the world, etc.
Right. Now let us go to the next aspect of this cultural genocide that we're talking about. Yes, intellectual terrorism that was incurred to Shaiva Sampradaya. How many of you know that Kashmiri Saivites are the world's most intellectually capable people of giving you breakthroughs in every field that the modern science is looking for? This community has been exterminated. Literally, there are only double-digit numbers of families that are known to be traditional Kashmiri Saivites today, where they have been left with only two options. You can either convert yourself to a different religion or you have to displace yourself. That's it. You're being just given two options. Either you can convert yourself to a different religion or you have to displace yourself from where you belong to. This brutal persecution happened where literally all the scriptures of Kashmiri Saivism is completely burnt, and the entire intellectual strength of Hinduism is shaken the way the Kashmiri Saivites were treated.
Yes, the entire sampradaya was destroyed, by anti-Hindu terrorists. If you see an example where through Islamic invasion, especially starting through Sikandar Butchikan during 1389, 1413, Hindus were mercilessly killed and converted on the pretext of being kafirs, non-believers, as per the religion law of the extremist tyrant. Remember how it feels, all the Kashmiri Shaivites, living there, and the Islamic invasion happens, and they come there, and they either force you to follow their religion or leave the place, and that is how thousands of Kashmiri Shaivites had to leave, become kafirs. So an example, 1320, Sultan Sikandar killed Hindus by calling them Kashmiri. In 1990, the same Hindus were killed under the propaganda called Kashmiriyat, which alleged that Hindus were not native to Kashmir.
Yes. So the technique or the strategy that these anti-Hindu elements deployed was something called kafir. Kafir means you're a non-believer, right? I'm going to give you all a scenario. Imagine you're staying in your ancestral property, and this property, let's say it belongs to your ancestors, and let's say it belongs to your family for more than 200, 300 years. Let's say 3-4 generations of people in your family have been living and residing in that property. And someday, some robber he enters into his property, he thrashes all of you and then says, "You don't believe what I believe in, so therefore this property belongs to me and you must get out." How do you feel about it? That is exactly what has happened to Kashmiri Saivats. Because they don't believe in the religion that these anti-Hindu elements wanted them to believe, they have been given only one choice. Either you change your religion or you can move out, you can be displaced. So this is the exact strategy of Hindu Jnanalaya. Because of Swamiji's persistent vision and efforts, today Kailasa's Jnanalaya is the world's largest collection of Kashmiri Saivism texts. You heard it right. Whatever Kashmiri Saivism text that is remaining today after the brutal persecution that the community has faced, Kailasa is houses the world's largest collection. And it is not only housing the largest collection, it is sharing it with the world for free and making the whole science user-friendly, making it available for the entire humanity. That is what she has been doing for more than 30 years, for 30 years now. So the ideological persecution that we went through, in every single level, Hindus have been targeted, and you can see the clear start of revival happening in the last 30 years because of the persistent efforts of Swamiji, where he never compromised in anything when it comes to revival of Hinduism.
Yes, actually, a couple of more, horrific, incidents about, the genocide, in Kashmir, around in Mirpur, so many thousands of people were abducted and, raped, and also in Rajouri, where 30,000 Hindus and Sikhs were reportedly killed, wounded, abducted. So such was the state of merciless killing and mass rapes and etc. and extensive killing that happened, and still. Still, if you see today, we hear about the Kashmiri Pandits, being killed, and still, there is that still it's happening, today, in that region.
Yes, and I'm going to take a few minutes of all of your time to show the amount of work that Swamiji has done to revive these sacred Hindu scriptures. About $640 million have been spent on reviving, preserving, and making these Hindu scriptures user-friendly. Today, Kailasa's Nithyananda Hindu Jnanalaya is the largest library pertaining to Hindu scriptures. And not only that, it's all about collecting, preserving, making it digital, making it available to one and all, and ensuring that the entire ecosystem, especially the 21 Hindu kingdoms that Swamiji is the Mahamadlesh or Guru Mahasanidhanam, where all these Hindu sciences are revived and made it as user-friendly.
Yes, the Kailasa's National Archive, initiative, is something, is very important, for generations. This revival, on the ancient palm scripts, and the digitization of Hindu manuscripts that will be available, for generations, to come. And it is important, to understand what has happened to us, so we can change, the future to from what it is now.
Yes, and next I'm going to explain on the amount of funding that has been spent on these preserving of these Hindu scriptures. Yes, so towards the collection, conservation, digitization of Hindu manuscripts, about 640.5 million Hindu scriptures $1 million were spent. You can say in this, mostly it was all about importing and assembling of Vedic mandates. That itself took about 600 million, and the rest of the funding went into facilitation, physical and digital archival, digitization, and conservation of all of these Vedic mandates.
Yes. So yes. So this continues, in a larger scale. So now we move on to the next segment of the science of power manifestation. So the power manifestation, existed, before, means, before, through, earlier, in 1800s, and really how the system, the health system, the medical, health system, support system existed, in our villages and in India, around, those, times. So here is, one report from, the William Adam, where in a certain, state in Thana, in around 1 lakh, people, that we had, around 300 women midwives, to means one midwife, for every 400, people to be available, to offer, medical support. And one such, great story means was from Sulagati Narasamma, from who was one of the auxiliary nurse midwife. She, for 70 years, she performed more than 15,000 traditional deliveries free of charge. Can you believe this? Free of charge, 15,000 traditional deliveries free of charge for 70 years. And she used power manifestation in the medical field. So born in Krishnapuri in Tumkur, she was a power manifester. She was able to detect, the pulse of, the fetus while in the womb without, the use of any instruments. A staunch devotee of Bhagavan Krishna, she was known to connect with him in his form as Bhagavan Dhanvantari and manifest this power. So she could very easily detect, the position of, the baby in the womb. So this is such an amazing testimony of the health system, the support system, we had and at those times. And it was gradually destroyed, over hundreds of years.
And what I would also like to add is, you can clearly see the robustness that the Hindu health systems had, and especially the number of people that was deployed. The stats are something astounding, because every 500 women has one midwife assigned to them. It is such a powerful health system that was developed in a very organic manner because of the social structure, the strength of the social structure that Sanatana Hindu Dharma carried. But because of this constant anti-Hindu brainwashing propaganda, we always believe that Hindu health system is all about superficial superstitions, is what we all believe. That's because of the constant brainwashing that we have been subjected to. And today, if you see, what is our state now? We are still not able to find a solution for the pandemic. On the other hand, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Swamiji, has made sure that every single Kailasa around the world had 0 deaths or 0 infections during the COVID. You heard it right. 0 deaths, 0 infections in all the Kailasas around the world because of the traditional healthcare that Swamiji had provided, as per Vedas and Agamas, and this entire science that Swamiji has provided and made this community experience zero death and zero infections is something that the United Nations have recognized and published in the report. Yes. So this is the life that we will be getting in Kailasa, where you have the best healthcare facilities, and everything is rooted in Vedas and Agamas, and you are empowered intellectually through all these scriptures of Shaiva Sampradaya, and you are able to experience and express your complete creativity.
Yes. So the next we are going to show, talk about is Ramanujam. From 1887 through 1920. How the mathematical, in the area of mathematics, in the length dimension. Given any mathematics, he could answer, without actually needing to solve the problem. And many such equations, many such formulas, many such signs, that he Ramanujam used the power of third eye, the length dimension, to solve many problems and give solutions to the current humanity, and has been immense in the science of manifestation. So really, if you actually see many complex mathematical computations, calculations, he would simply say say it just through expressing through the power of third eye. And it's just in that generation, he has been he has done the greatest contribution to the science of to the field of mathematics. So the next we will continue also is to talk about the in the medical field, the Rishi Shushruta, how the father of modern surgery used the third eye powers to do surgeries. And Shushruta was an ancient Indian a physician known as a main author of medico-surgical compendium called Sushruta Samhita. So really, Sushruta Samhita was written and practiced using third eye powers, and the level of detail it covers goes on into describing how fetus develops 7 layers of the skin, naming each layer, etc., going into real details, which is unimaginable in that era, but made it possible today only through microscopy, ultrasonography, etc. So Shushruta is known for treating fractures, general surgery, plastic surgery, rhinoplastic, perineal surgeries, and shuttering of wounds, etc. And today, one such thing I wanted to share is the nose surgery. So during those times, when soldiers made a mistake or something happened, the nose of the soldiers used to be cut off. And at that time, this Shushruta school of medicine, they used to perform hundreds of surgeries on these soldiers, and they perfected the art of surgery, plastic constructive surgery. And even today, the science, the technology, what was done during that time, even today it's followed by the leading medicinal schools like Princeton and many papers, medical research papers have been written around this. So it's a major contribution has been done a little over 9,000 years old science through the Shushita school of medicine. So even here, even the science of the same way the plastic surgery, the science of the plastic surgery was destroyed through the cultural genocide by the invaders, and really now it's important this such an amazing science in the medical field needs to be revived. So as a consequence of these several crimes of this invasion, we see that even contemporary India is facing challenges in the healthcare sector. When it comes to doing complex plastic surgeries, and there are more number of infant deaths at the time of birth. And we see continued challenges, in the healthcare industry. So Kailasa has initiatives, in really providing an extraordinary, healthcare, reviving, this department of healthcare, by making leadership opportunities, engaging different platforms, making things available for disabled individuals, and also in using the power of third eye, making it available to the through the blinds initiative. And the cure and care, vision impairment through Nithya is such a unique, contribution and ancient, combination of components of, Nithyananda yoga, which includes different asanas, kumbhakas. So Swamiji is really reviving all of these authentic kriyas, yogas through in a very authentic way, to be able to revive and contribute to the current problems. And also hearing impairing initiatives. So Kailasa Department of Human Service has partnered with different schools in Gujarat, showcased this extraordinary feat of putting to action the principle of everyone is Paramashiva, empowering each individual to build their confidence and raise their self-esteem, so they become independent and contributing members of the society. So same way through mental disabilities and development disabilities, etc.
Yes. And the other thing which I wanted to add to here is how these actually literally removing the essence, which is festivities. Whether you take the Kavadia Yatra, where they termed the whole spiritual yatris as hooligans and thieves. And now if you take Holi, there is a lot of restriction to use the colored water on people's face. And now you have restrictions on Ganesh Chaturthi, where they say that you cannot put the Ganesha in the ocean. Now, you also have restrictions about bursting crackers during Diwali. Come on, what can Hindus do? If there is restriction on every single festival, important festival, that is actually holding all of us together, why should we not celebrate it? And why does no other religion experience this kind of bans?
Exactly. See, some of the ads, for in the jewelry or perfumes. Now, if you see, they have moved away from Hindu, culture. Where no bindi, and Hindu way of representing, jewelry. Same way, the Hindu sentiments, religious Hindu sentiments, are heard. I see many articles, say Indian festivals poison waterways. Similarly, there's an article that says Ganesh Chaturthi, Indian toxic festival. So it is such religious sentiments of Hindus are being heard, but at the same time, continuously telling this and weakening our backbone, and trying to break our tradition, and trying to break our tradition. Similarly, pollution happening in river Ganga. So these are some of the examples. Continuously, the anti-Hindu elements, try to portray, give a false agenda, false narrative on this.
Yes. So what Swamiji has done is, in fact, Swamiji holds the Asia Book of Records for making 13 Brahmotsavams in a year celebrated by a single Hindu temple. 13 Brahmotsavams, which means practically it is like more than 320 days in a year will be celebrated as a festival. So it is like something phenomenal what Swamiji has done. And it has not been just one temple. Swamiji has guided and evolved more than 50 temples around the world. In all of these temples, Swamiji ensures that more than 320 years of celebrations are happening, and each of these celebrations are happening in alignment to the reference temple. So in this way, the entire sentiments of Hindus are protected, and at the same time, all these temples and festivals and rituals, whatever is being performed in Adi Kailash and elsewhere, everything is ensured that it is actually relayed live. So, in digitally and physically empowering the Hindus to come back to their celebrative space. This is one of the most important and sweetest contribution of the Supreme Court of Hinduism. So, we just wanted to take this moment to mention that. And if you see, so far, so much of persecution has happened to us. And what we are also seeing is there is a huge need to solve the world problems today. And Hinduism has got solutions for all these problems. We don't need to work for it. Our ancestors and Paramashiva has given it. And we have our avatar as Guru who is going to guide us and make this whole thing happen. So all we need to do is take that first step towards manifesting Sarvanyapita. Moment you take that first step, you will see how automatically all the doors and windows will be.
Yes. So this is the time festivities I would like to highlight also is in all the Kailasa, at least in the Kailasa, Los Angeles. I had an opportunity to participate in Kumbh Mela, there, and how beautifully it happens, in India, in Sarvagna Yajman and Sarvagna Karta. So I kindly request all of you to post your messages in your Zoom. So here is the link, sksjp.org/contribute. So in the meanwhile, we'll just give you a few minutes. We will have a short scanning session for the participants. Yes, Nithyanandam, I think we had a small technical glitch. Hopefully, all of you are able to hear. Yes, if you're able to, yes, if you're able to hear me, you can give me a thumbs up, or you can post in your Zoom chat, so I'm able to see each one of you, your comments. Yes, Nithyanandam, if you're able to hear me, Nithyanandam, you can please post in the Zoom chat.
Yeah. So now we will requesting all the participants and viewers to post if you would like to have a third eye scanned in this FB link.
Uh,
Yes, I request all the participants to post your requests. Like if you would like to get scanned, you can post that in this Facebook group. So please go to SPH Nithyananda Paramashivam page and you can post that in the group. So we can say here how Oza is sharing that after each day of the program, my inner space is more firm even during the situations before I was stressed. Now I handle with calm and knowledge of it. It's just a dream and drama. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Right. And I request all the participants to kindly post if you would like to get scanned in the Facebook page event. Right. So requesting everybody to post if you would like to get scanned. So participants in the Zoom room, if your chat window is disabled, you can come to Facebook and post your request to get scanned in the Facebook event page. Yes, okay. So we have here Paramashiva Priyama for scanning. And we have here Ma Jnanatmaya Priyananda. That's great. And who else? Ma Musu He. So also put the request for scanning. Okay, so now with Swamiji's grace and blessings, let's begin. Amritaya, would you like to go first?
Yes, Nithyananda. Sorry for the technical glitch. So, Paramashiva Priya, what Swamiji revealed to me was the mental setup of the intensity to make the decision into the future. You are always wanting to push anything that you want to do into the future, missing the present, what you can do now. So look into why you feel know that you want to do something tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Why not now? What you're empowered to change your life now. And if you can see what is making you feel to move into the future and make that intense decision now, that at this very moment, let me decide to become Sarvangapita Yajman, you will manifest, you will attract the right situations, right people, right, and you will manifest to become founding fathers, founding mothers of Kailasa. Yes.
Right. And next we have Jnanamaya Priyananda. It's just checking once again. Yes, it's Jnanamaya Priyananda, requesting you to intensely connect with Swamiji. Let us both connect with Swamiji in our third eye and let us chant the Mahavakyam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam.
Om Nithyananda Paramashivam.
Yes. Swamiji revealed that there is an intense desire to explore yourself in the field of arts. Because of so much of self-hatred that you developed in the age 11, you are not exploring yourself in arts dimension. So I request you to sit and pen down that incident and say it through. Literally, you will be able to see a new powerful cognition, a liberating cognition when you look at the same event, same incident. And after that, list down the list of steps that you're going to take to manifest your being in the field of arts. So with Swamiji's grace and blessing, you'll be simply able to do it. So requesting you to take a few minutes to pen down that incident at 11 and let's do completion through third eye. Okay, there are some more people.
Yes. Laws and how? Yes, Nithyananda. I'm scanning you now.
Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam.
Yes, laws and how? Yes. So what Swamiji revealed to me was you give up very easily. Anything that you are doing, you just give up easily. The intensity with which you are making, the decision whether it is anything in your personal life or whether it is to doing the programs, that intensity of the decision is missing. So intensely with will persistence. Now, if you just sit with will persistence that you want to manifest Sarvangapita, you will manifest immediately, and just create this space, and during this darshan, you will have a breakthrough. Yes, Klaus and how?
Yes, and now we're scanning Nikhil and Nikhil Soni, who's saying that you want to manifest Paramashivam for you and your parents. Okay, let us intensely connect with Swamiji in our third eye, and let's chant the Mahavakya. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Yes. So, Nikhil, one thing that Swamiji showed me is first, drop this decision fatigue that you have in your life. Right? There is so much of decision fatigue. If you see right now itself, there are few things which will simply move if you take an action, take a decision. But what happens is every time you want to take a decision and make the movement happen, your self-doubt and self-denial is so strong that it makes you confused and it just becomes a vicious cycle. So decision fatigue is one of the key karma that your being is actually going through. And Swamiji has beautifully shared so many times. If you simply decide to break the karma, that you're not going to fall for this pattern anymore. If you have a conscious breakthrough, then the impact of karma will not be there in your life. So now all you need to do is decide, right? Decide clearly. Why do you want to manifest Paramashivam? What are the doors that is available to you which is accessible? What are the actions that you need to take it or make that happen? The whole process is so simple, but it becomes simple only when you decide it to be simple, right? So I request you to take this moment and intensely complete with it. Yes. So anybody else would like to get scanned, you can actually post that in the chat. So thank you so much whoever has commented and received your scans. All the courses will get in touch with you guys. And let us all work together to make it happen.
Yes. Lao Zhen Hao. Yes, Nithyananda. Yes, what I also saw additional things that Swamiji revealed was also you have the resources to become SJP. You're delaying, procrastinating, and the moment today you make a decision, you will be able to become Sarvangapita Yajman before Shivratri. Lao Zhen Ho, yes, Nithyananda. If you're able to hear our, you can also comment that you heard in the Facebook, so we know that you've heard it. Yes. Anybody else who is requesting, for a scan, please post a message in the Facebook group under the events.
Right. Any other participant would like to get yours a scan? You can post that in the chat. Right. So with this, would like to once again remind and share with all the participants, do not miss this opportunity where you can become the founding fathers of Kailasa. Every day there is a bilateral agreement that is getting signed. Everywhere there is a sister city agreement that is getting signed. Swamiji is taking the whole nation to a completely different level, which we cannot even comprehend. So being a part of Kailasa is going to be one of the rarest boons that we all may get. And it is right now, it is in a place where everybody can work together to make it happen. So I request all the participants to take 2 minutes, sign up in the form that has been projected, skajp.org/contribute. Show your very intention to this cosmos that you are ready for the transformation. And with Swamiji's grace and blessings,
Yes, Muzi, he is requesting for a scan. Yes, Nithyananda. Yes, I'm doing the scan for you. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Yes, Muzehi, Nithyananda. Yes, what Swamiji revealed to me, you don't stick to your decisions that you make, even in your daily life. You make a decision and then you don't stick to that. You just keep changing. So even for you to become Sarvangapita Yajman, founding fathers of Kailasa, you bring stability to your decision. Look into your at least maybe 2-3 incidents, very recent incidents that you feel you wanted to do it, you decided to do it, but you did not do it. So look into the at least 2-3 incidents, complete with this, you will be and make a new sankalpa to become Sarvagna-pita Yajaman. By Shivaratri, you will become founding fathers of Kailasa. Nithyanandam. Yes. So all of you, whoever has wants us to scan, so please post your comments on Facebook. Yes. So all of you, there. Today you can make the decision, a sankalpa to become founding fathers by starting your journey today towards attending the Paramashivam Season 2 program. See, your decision today to stand by wanting to become Sarvagna-pita manifester is a testament to supporting the Mahakaila mission, Swamiji's vision and mission, in a way how you've seen. We've been persecuted, and our communities are persecuted, and all our best things that we've offered, Hinduism has offered, is just being destroyed. So your decision today to become Sarvagna-pita manifester, attending the 21 days of Paramashivam Season 2 is indication of you stand for it. You stand up for the cause. You stand up, and each one of you can bring immense contribution to the change, immense contribution to the shift, to making it happen, to making the revivals successful, bringing to its completion, and make it available for generations. And so do not procrastinate. Maybe I'll do it next time, or any other obstacles. Don't be too attached to your obstacles, your problems. Let go of that, and have the goal, as what you want to manifest, instead of taking the side of your problems, being convinced with your problems. And you can also post, in the Facebook, what aspect of today's presentation that you heard that really resonates with you, and really you want to support that particular area, what Swamiji is reviving. So you can post your comments, in Facebook as well. And also, additionally, we have people who are wanting scanning done. Please post your comments. So all the people who we scanned, a couple of them now, all of you can take the next step right away before before the darshan. So you can have a breakthrough just during the darshan. So whatever was revealed to you, please take the next steps and prepare yourself during the darshan to get a breakthrough. Yes. Yes, Nithyanandam E. Lee is requesting for a scan.
Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Yes, Nithyanandam E. Lee. Yes, what Swamiji revealed was let go of your insecurity. Let go of your insecurity and whatever you have today, make a decision to contribute towards Sarvagnapita, Karta, and just with the intensity of that decision and letting go of the insecurity, you will manifest wealth and become Sarvagnapita Karta by Shivaratri. Nitya Tirtha Rupananda, Nityanandam.
Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Yes, Nithyanandam Tirtharupaya. Yes, what Swamiji revealed was make this as a priority. If you make this as a priority over other things, you will manifest for SJP, and soon you will become Sarvagnapita Yajman. Nithyanandam. Yes, we have someone posted in Chinese about Yili. If, yes, somebody has posted in Chinese. If you can post your name in the comments, we can scan you. Yes, Nithyananda, anybody else needing scanning, please post your comments in the in the Facebook page. Yes, Nithyananda, Gnananjali. Yes, Nithyananda Ma. Yes, let me do the scanning. Yes. 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 Nithyananda. Yes. I want to complete during the power manifestation. During the power manifestation session, it is Swamiji showing me through through a third eye, and it's only Swamiji. Whatever is being shown is what I'm sharing. So I complete again with all the viewers.
Living, alive being. Drop your
Nityananda.
Yes. And that comes the end of this segment. I hope all the participants who ever had your third scan, you can post your responses, how you feel, and have you taken action, all of that in the chat, and we will look into it. And this comes to the end of the session, and tomorrow, hopefully, again, once again, we'll share with you much more effective information about Kailasa, about Hindu Holocaust, and many more things. And now we are all going to be receiving the Bhava Samadhi Darshan of Swamiji, manifesting as Mahasadashiva. Yes, the most awaited moment of the day. I request all the participants to settle down and let us all have a blast being in the presence of Swamiji, who is going to manifest as the Mahasadashiva. So, what is Bhava Samadhi Darshan? It is mirroring the neurons of the avatar who's descended with the universal consciousness from our individual consciousness. So when we mirror the neurons of the avatar, we simply radiate him and we manifest him. So it's going to be a very, very important session. And firstly, we will be seeing a video to understand the science of energy darshan. Yes, I request all the participants to turn on your camera, whoever is there in the Zoom. For security reasons, we will definitely require all of you to turn on the video camera when the darshan is on. Yes, and I'm seeing a lot of great responses and happy faces in the Zoom. I request everybody to turn on your video camera and let's get ready. Let's prepare ourselves to receive the darshan of Swamiji, manifesting as the Mahasadashiva.
Hello again. Gaze into a mirror and what do you see? Well, I see my face, of course, but in my face I see moods, I see shifts of feeling. We humans are really good at reading faces and bodies because if I can look at you and feel what you're feeling, I can learn from you, connect to you, I can love you. Empathy is one of our finer traits, and when it happens so easily, perhaps because, and this is brand new science, this is just out of the lab, we may have some special circuitry in our brains that helps us whenever we look at each other. Ask yourself, why do people get so deeply involved with such anguish, such pain, such nail-biting tension over football?
Cleveland Browns are gambling on defense.
Why are we such suckers for sports? And it's not just sports. We can lose it completely at the movies, at video games, watching a dance. Is there something about humans particularly, that allows us to connect so deeply when we watch other people? Watch them moving, watch them playing, watch their faces. Well, as it happens, scientists have an explanation for this strange ability to connect. It's new.
It had never been found on the cellular level before.
A set of brain cells found on either side of the head. Among all the billions of long branching cells in our brain, these so-called mirror neurons have surprising power.
What we found is the mechanism that underlies something which is absolutely fundamental to the way that we see other people in the world.
And it began entirely by accident at a laboratory in the lovely old city of Parma, Italy, where a group of brain researchers was working with monkeys. And they were testing a neuron, that's a brain cell, that always made this sound, whenever the monkey would grab for a peanut. So the lab had all these peanuts around, and whenever the monkey made its move, the neuron would fire. Scientists thought, now here's a neuron that is essential to motion. It's a motor neuron. Then one day the monkey was just sitting around, not moving at all, just sitting, when a human scientist came into the lab. And when that scientist grasped the peanut, the monkey's cell fired. Now, the monkey hadn't moved. It was the human that had moved, suggesting that this neuron up here couldn't tell the difference between seeing something and doing something. Seeing and doing were the same. Or more intriguingly, that for this neuron, watching somebody do something is just like doing it yourself. The head of the lab, Giacomo Rizzolato,
the same neurons, one neuron, fire both. When the monkey observes something, it's doing something. It's almost unbelievable.
It was surprising because this cell which was involved with motor planning for the monkey turned out to be interested in the movements of other people as well.
Some people call them monkey see, monkey do neurons, but the name that stuck is mirror neurons, because with them, the brain seems to mirror the movements it sees. This accidental discovery got scientists thinking, doing more tests, and it soon came pretty clear that this is not just a monkey thing, it's a people thing too. We all know that humans learn by looking and copying. That's what infants do. First you look, then you do.
Ready? Let's see your feet this way.
And once you've watched and copied and learned a set of moves, you not only have them in your head.
Look, you put your shoe on. Here, she brushes it.
If you see somebody else doing it, you can share the experience.
And you want to do it with me?
They know the moves, you know the moves, so you can move with them.
Wow.
If you can use the years of training that you yourself have done, learning to crawl, then learning to walk, then learning to eat, this is an incredibly rich set of knowledge that you could apply to the problem of actually seeing what's going on.
So that's why when I head down this street carrying all these packages, not only do people watch, look how they're watching. They feel my predicament, because they know what it's like to carry heavy packages. They all know about carrying. So as they watch me moving, they can feel themselves moving. Their neurons are mirroring the action. These neurons may be the brain's way of translating what we see so we can relate to the world.
The mirror system is the way that you tap into, the way that you harness your own abilities and project them out into the world.
And people are really good at watching and translating what we see. Like with just 13 moving dots, that's all there are here, you'll have no trouble recognizing these very ordinary activities. What's more, tests have shown when a person sees a movie like this of his own movement, he'll recognize it immediately as his own. And that's why sports fans tense with the action and wince and leap, because if you know the game, then your neurons are firing as if it's you playing, giving a whole new meaning to armchair quarterback. That's why it's so easy to be a sports fan. But there is more, suggests UCLA professor Marco Iacoboni. He thinks mirror neurons tie us not just to other people's actions, but to other people's feelings.
So the idea was to try to figure out how the emotional system and this motor system are connected together. We're going to go in the scanner. What you're going to do is
To demonstrate, he put me into this very powerful fMRI brain scanner that can peer into the brain while it's working. And he gave me some goggles so he could show me pictures when I was in there.
So you can see here the eyeball of Robert.
And once he had a good view into my brain...
Nice looking brain.
Thank you.
Robert, you're not supposed to talk when we scan you, all right?
Sorry.
Then he said, okay, I'm going to show you a bunch of faces. And for each face, I want you to imitate it. So I did that. Then he recorded my brain while I moved my facial muscles.
We're going to do right away another one.
Okay.
Then he said, okay, same faces, but this time, don't move a muscle. Just look. So I looked. When we checked the results...
Oh, there's my brain. I've never seen my brain before.
This is your mirror area.
Iacoboni says that the part of my brain that's working when I make a face, the same part gets busy when I see the face. Plus, when I was looking at these faces, being extra uncomfortable, kind of bad. But when these faces came on, I felt better, almost happy. And in fact, at the moment I was looking at the happy face, my brain, and this is my brain, in that instant, see the red area here? It shows activity in the happy, emotional part of my brain. And when I was imitating happy faces, look, I get even a bigger response. This, says Iacoboni, is a consistent result. Mirror neurons, he believes, can send messages to the limbic or emotional system in our brains. So it's possible these neurons help us tune in to that's empathy.
We strongly believe that that's a unifying mechanism that allows people to actually connect at a very simple level.
You're saying that there's a place in my brain whose job it is to live in other people's minds, live in other people's bodies.
That's right.
Oh, darling, I'm going to die. Don't let me die.
Yeah.
And great actors instinctively know that if they put feeling and drama into their bodies,
Hold me tight. Don't let me go.
their faces,
It's dark out there alone.
we will respond.
Can't die. You're too brave to die.
What actors are expert in is using their movements to inspire feelings in the people watching. These are the experts in the mirror system.
We are intensely social creatures. We literally read other people's minds. I don't mean anything psychic like telepathy, but you can adopt another person's point of view.
When you put it together, what do you think it's going to be?
So if mirror neurons help us connect emotionally, what about people who have trouble with this? Kids like Christian, who has autism.
Why do you like Legos?
It's been known for some time that children with autism could be quite intelligent, but have a profound deficit in social interaction.
There he is.
Christian can speak and read and write, but like many kids with autism, he will avoid eye contact. He often misunderstands questions.
So, Christian, can you tell me what you did in school today? doing well. You're doing well?
Everybody wants to know what exactly causes this. So Dr. Ramachandran and his graduate student, Lindsay Schenk, designed an experiment.
So we're going to be reading your brainwaves with this cap.
They recorded brainwaves while the kids opened and closed their hands, and while they looked at a movie of somebody else's hands. For most people, the brainwaves look the same either way, whether they're doing or seeing. But for kids with autism, the wave changes, suggesting possibly that autism may have something to do with broken mirror neurons.
Their brains may indeed be different in that regard, and they may have deficits in the mirror neuron system. But we don't know this for sure yet, and additional work needs to be done using brain imaging.
But what we do know, says Ramachandran, is that healthy human beings are intensely social. More than our cousins the monkeys, we invent ways to connect. We invent dances and handshakes and games to play. We eat together, we meet, and we talk. We talk a lot.
Get away. Everybody's interested in this question. What makes humans unique? What makes us different from the great apes, for example? You can say humor, you're the laughing biped. Language, certainly. Okay? But another thing is culture. And a lot of culture comes from imitation, watching your teachers do something.
And here V.S. Ramachandran makes a big leap. He has proposed that at a key moment in our evolution, this is his guess, our mirror neurons got better. And that made all the difference, he says, because once we humans got better at learning from each other, looking, copying, teaching, we could do things the other creatures couldn't.
In other words, if you are a bear and suddenly the environment turns cold, you need a few million years to develop a polar bear type layers of fat and fur.
It would take many, many, many bear generations to select for furrier bears. But, says Ramachandran,
if you're a human, you watch your father slaying another bear and putting on a fur coat, skinning it, using that as a coat. You watch it, you learn it instantly. Your mirror neurons start firing away in your brain. And you perform the same sequence, complicated sequence. Instead of going through millions of years of evolution, you've done it in one generation.
And while no one's claiming that mirror neurons are the key ingredient that makes us different from other creatures, what these neurons do suggest about us seems almost self-evident. You can see it any Sunday at a sports bar, that deep in our architecture, down in our cells, we are built to be together.
There would be very little point in having a mirror system if you lived on your own. There'd be a lot of point in having a digestive system if you lived on your own. There'd be a good point in having a movement system if you lived on your own. There'd be a good point in having a visual system if you lived on your own. But there'd be no point in having a mirror system. The mirror system is the most basic social brain system. It's a brain system which there's no point in having if you don't want to interact or relate to other people.
But we do like to interact, and maybe now, as never before, we will understand why.
I am introducing one of the important sacred secret, a spiritual principle to all of you. Please listen, the key word, mirror neurons. Let me explain the concept. Then we will recognize many of our understandings with this truth. As I said, recognizing is recognizing. Mirror neurons. Very recently, I was studying a research paper where they beautifully established with various analysis researchers on a very powerful truth. For example, if somebody is swimming in the ocean, You stand and watch. Whatever brain activity is happening in that person's brain, whatever activity is happening in his brain, in his neurons, please listen. Even if you are watching, the same activities are mirrored in your brain. The same neuron activities are mirrored in your brain. Listen. If you are watching totally, the same effect is mirrored totally in you. If you are absorbed in it, you also know a little swimming. Please listen. If you know a little swimming and you are absorbed in it, you are not swimming, you are just standing. Both brains are in the same frequency, the same effect, and no difference. Listen. If somebody is swimming in the ocean, you are standing and watching. If you don't know swimming, if you are not completely absorbed in it, maybe some 80% is mirroring. If you are absorbed in it and you also know swimming, there is no difference at all between his brain and your brain. The mirroring effect, I tell you, if you are watching totally absorbed in it, then the same activity is replicated in your brain, meaning the same kind of electric and neurotic impulses are activated in your brain. This defines, this demystifies many mystical phenomena. Please listen. Now you know why just by gazing into my eyes, you are in the space of completion. Why just looking at me, you are in the space of completion.
Yes. Now I request all the participants to settle down, and we are going to be having the most awaited form of the day, which is receiving the blessings of Swamiji, who is going to manifest as Mahasadashiva. So we will be mirroring the consciousness of Swamiji, who is going to manifest as Mahasadashiva. I request all the participants to please be with your head, neck and spine in the straight line. Please close your eyes. Inhale as deeply as possible. Exhale as slowly as possible. Now, in the space of gratitude, let us connect with Swamiji intensely for showering us this wealth, this ocean of knowledge, this ocean of truth to liberate us from janmas of karma. So let us intensely connect with Swamiji and chant the Mahavakya. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam.
Connecting with the divine with your eyes closed is meditation. Connecting with the divine with your eyes open is darshan. Come, let us all now move from meditation to darshan. Slowly, very slowly, please open your eyes.
என்னப்பனல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளிக்கவா என்னப்பனல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளிக்கவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா நல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா ஏழாம் உடல்கள் தாண்டி நித்திய வாழ்வும் கண்டிட கேடான காலம் தன்னை வென்று நீளை நின்றிட ஏழாம் உடல்கள் தாண்டி நித்திய வாழ்வும் கண்டிட கேடான காலம் தன்னை வென்று நீளை நின்றிட சீரான பாவம் பழி நீங்கி பெரு வாழ்வினை கொண்டாட நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தன்னை செய்தவா சீரான பாவம் பழி நீங்கி பெரு வாழ்வினை கொண்டாட நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தன்னை செய்தவா என்னப்பனல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பனல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா நிலையில்லாய் வாழ்வில் நித்தியமாய் விளங்கும் ஆனந்தம் கரையில்லத்தை தடை செய்திடும் மடமனம் நிலையில்லாய் வாழ்வில் நித்தியமாய் விளங்கும் ஆனந்தம் கரையில்லா ஆனந்தத்தை தடை செய்திடும் மடமனம் தடை தகர்த்து வெல்ல நித்யானந்தன் தந்த சூத்திரம் நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் இந்த உலகில் இணையில்லா வரும் நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் இந்த உலகில் இணையில்லா வரும் என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா ஆழியாய் விருந்து நிற்கும் கர்ம நிலை சஞ்சிதம் ஆழியாய் விருந்து நிற்கும் கர்ம நிலை சஞ்சிதம் வாழும் ஜென்மத்தோடு கொண்டு வந்த பிராரப்தமா சேருகின்ற ஆசைகளால் கூடிடும் ஆகாமியம் சேருகின்ற ஆசைகளால் கூடிடும் ஆகாமியம் வீழும் மூன்று கர்மம் நித்யானந்தன் வழி சென்றிட வீழும் மூன்று கர்மம் நித்யானந்தன் வழி சென்றிட என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா ஊடுகிறாய் உலவுகின்ற போதும் நம்மை சாடுவர் வீடாத துயில் தழுவ மனதை விட்டு நீக்குவர் ஊடுகிறாய் உலவுகின்ற போதும் நம்மை சாடுவர் வீடாத துயில் தழுவ மனதை விட்டு நீக்குவர் ஆயுள் தாண்டி விட்ட போதும் ஆண்டு கொள்ளும் மீட்பராய் தோன்றுகின்ற நித்யானந்த சத் ஆயுள் தாண்டி விட்ட போதும் ஆண்டு கொள்ளும் மீண்டுகின்ற நித்யானந்த சத்குருவில் கீழவர் என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடுமவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா தந்தை தாயும் ஆன போதும் திட்டமிட்ட சொந்தம்தான் கொண்ட வந்த மக்கள் யாவும் தீர்வில்லாத நோய்களாம் தந்தை தாயும் ஆன போதும் திட்டமிட்ட சொந்தம்தான் கொண்ட வந்த மக்கள் யாவும் தீர்வில்லாத நோய்களாம் ஈடு காட்டில் இட்ட பின்பும் முக்தி தந்து ஏற்றிடும் ஈடிணை இல்லாத ஒரே சொந்தம் குரு நித்யனாம் ஈடிணை இல்லாத ஒரே சொந்தம் குரு நித்யனாம் என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா ஆசை கால நச்சம் வலியோடு குற்ற எண்ணமும் ஆசை கால நச்சம் வலியோடு குற்ற எண்ணமும் மாசு கொண்ட எண்ணங்கள் சல்காரமாய் வதைத்திடும் போதும் இந்த வாழ்வும் என்ற ஜீவன் ஓய்வு தேடிடும் போதும் இந்த வாழ்வும் என்ற ஜீவன் ஓய்வு தேடிடும் தேடும் ஓய்வு காட்டிடாத எண்ணம் மீண்டும் மோதிடும் தேடும் ஓய்வு காட்டிடாத எண்ணம் மீண்டும் மோதிடும் என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா. தவித்திடும் சீற்றம் ஏற ஏற அச்ச எண்ணமாய் நிலை பெறும். வாட்டும் வலியின் பிடியில் இந்த ஸ்தூல தேகம் தவித்திடும் சீற்றம் ஏற ஏற அச்ச எண்ணமாய் நிலை பெறும். தாங்கும் ஞான சோளம் வலியின் வலிமை தன்னை வீழ்த்திடும். ஏங்கும் உயிர் நித்திய நருளில் ஸ்தூல தேகம் தாண்டிடும். ஏங்கும் உயிர் நித்திய நருளில் ஸ்தூல தேகம் தாண்டிடும். என்னப்பன் அல்லவா எந்தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா. என்னப்பன் அல்லவா எந்தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா. பிராணதேகம் காமமோக தீயினில் உழன்றதே. பிராணதேகம் காமமோக தீயினில் உழன்றதே. ஆசை கடலின் அலைகள் தன்னை கட்டுண்டே பின் மூழ்குதே. காத்து கொள்ளும் நோக்கினோடு நித்தியன் பாதம் நாடுதே. காத்து கொள்ளும் நோக்கினோடு நித்தியன் பாதம் நாடுதே. நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தரும் யுக்தி தன்னை வேண்டுதே. நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தரும் யுக்தி தன்னை வேண்டுதே. என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா. என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா. கொண்ட ஆசை மோகம் யாவும் எண்ணமாக வாழ்ந்திடும். உள்ளே உள்ளி நாளெடுக்கும் நித்தியன் சொன்ன சூத்திரம். கொண்ட ஆசை மோகம் யாவும் எண்ணமாக வாழ்ந்திடும். உள்ளே உள்ளி நாளெடுக்கும் நித்தியன் சொன்ன சூத்திரம். வெள்ளி தமிழ் பேசும் தெய்வ ரூபம் கொண்ட நித்தியனும் சொன்ன மாத்திரத்தில் காண தேகம் கரை சேர்ந்ததே. வெள்ளி தமிழ் பேசும் தெய்வ ரூபம் கொண்ட நித்தியனும் சொன்ன மாத்திரத்தில் காண தேகம் கரை சேர்ந்ததே. என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா. என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா. குற்றமாய் உணர்வு கொள்ளும் எண்ண மனதை வாட்டிடும். சற்றும் தெளிவில்லாத நிலை தன்னை தானே காட்டிடும். குற்றமாய் உணர்வு கொள்ளும் எண்ண மனதை வாட்டிடும். சற்றும் தெளிவில்லாத நிலை தன்னை தானே காட்டிடும். சுற்றம் கொஞ்சம் சாற்றும் சுயமாக கொஞ்சம் ஏற்றிடும். கற்ற வித்தை ஏதும் கை கடங்கிடாது போகிடும். கற்ற வித்தை ஏதும் கை கடங்கிடாது போகிடும். என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா. என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா. தவறுணர்ந்து ஸ்படிகமாக மனம் தெளிந்த பெருநிலை. தவறுணர்ந்து ஸ்படிகமாக மனம் தெளிந்த பெருநிலை. குறை களைந்து நிலை உயர்ந்து சிகரம் வெட்டும் ஓர் நிலை. சுமை குறைந்து மனசரீரம் கடந்து செல்லும் சீர்நிலை. சுமை குறைந்து மனசரீரம் கடந்து செல்லும் சீர்நிலை. தயபுரிந்து விமல நித்தியன் அருளுகின்ற மேல்நிலை. தயபுரிந்து விமல நித்தியன் அருளுகின்ற மேல்நிலை. என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா. என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா. எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவ அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா சப்த சக்கரம் உள்ளடக்கும் தேகம் சூக்ஷ்மமாகுமே காயம் கொள்ளும் வேதனை உணர்வு இங்கு ஓங்குமே சப்த சக்கரம் உள்ளடக்கும் தேகம் சூக்ஷ்மமாகுமே காயம் கொள்ளும் வேதனை உணர்வு இங்கு ஓங்குமே ஓங்கும் யாவும் நீங்குகின்ற நித்யானந்தன் தத்துவம் சூக்ஷ்ம தேகம் தன்னை தாண்டும் விந்தை செய்து காட்டுமே ஓங்கும் யாவும் நீங்குகின்ற நித்யானந்தன் தத்துவம் சூக்ஷ்ம தேகம் தன்னை தாண்டும் விந்தை செய்து காட்டுமே என்னப்பனல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பனல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா ஆழ்ந்த நித்திரைக்குள் காணும் காரண சரீரமும் சூழும் சொப்பனத்தை மெய்யென்றெண்ணியே தவித்திடும் ஆழ்ந்த நித்திரைக்குள் காணும் காரண சரீரமும் சூழும் சொப்பனத்தை மெய்யென்றெண்ணியே தவித்திடும் மீளுகின்ற சூத்திரம் அருள் செய்யும் நித்யானந்தனால் காரண சரீரம் தன்னை பூர்ணமாய் கடக்கிறோம் காரண சரீரம் தன்னை பூர்ணமாய் கடக்கிறோம் என்னப்பனல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பனல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா அற்பமான வஸ்து மீது கொள்ளும் மோக எண்ணமே அற்பமான வஸ்து மீது கொள்ளும் மோக எண்ணமே ஸ்வர்க்கமாய் தெரிந்து ஆன்ம தேகம் தன்னை ஆளுமே விற்பனை பொருட்கள் மீது கொள்ளுகின்ற பற்றலாம் விற்பகின்ற பற்றலாம் சொற்பமாய் சுகம் அளிக்கும்